Hey guys, I'm Naya and welcome back to the channel. We have a tier list to make. We need to talk about the best decks for the upcoming format. And of course, it's quite hard to determine this early on, but I can share my predictions with you guys and my thoughts on the format. And I figured why not share your thoughts in the comments down below as well. I would love to know what you guys are going to be playing and what you guys actually think about the format, the ban list, all of that, and about the entire future of our game for the next couple of months. So the tiers are as per usual, of course, and I added some decks, changed some things up a bit. So yeah, let's just have fun and do the tier list. So with the ABC deck, I think it's still Rogue. Like it has the Therian cards, which is not bad, and Bestials are sort of maybe falling off a tiny bit so they don't get hurt by Bestials that much anymore, but I still don't think they're getting any better than Rogue for now. Adamantia, I don't think it's that great. It's just there's no one picking it up and it just feels old and fragile and just not great at all and not worth playing. And then we have Ultrageist as well. I have similar thoughts on Ultrageist, and actually we can talk about if I can find Guru over here as well. I think Guru might be a bit better. It managed to see one top slot in the Lyon YCS that's happening still. I think one of the top decks was one player with Guru. The format is old, but still Kashtira is a new thing in it. So there's, I guess, some comparison to the upcoming format, and Guru was able to do well. I always like to talk bad about Guru. I don't think Guru is good in particular, and I won't step back from that. I truly believe Guru is kind of bad, but it doesn't seem as bad right now. Like it's able to do some things, I guess, and I guess maybe cheat out some wins with Dragoon and all of that. Like it's not exactly a horrible trap deck. But there's better trap decks and better decks than Guru, and we're gonna squeeze more decks over here as well. So yeah, Blackwing I think is Rogue. I think Blackwing can completely catch you off guard. It does a lot. It makes nice boards, but it does get hurt by specific hand traps and going second cards. And I feel like it's maybe a bit too fragile to be put higher than Rogue or higher in the middle of Rogue. Then we had tri-brigade, which I think tri-brigade together with Lyralesk is not bad at all. I think it can be like top of Rogue, maybe even bottom of tier 2. Boards are really, really strong. Recital Starling is a 2, and I feel like it's able to achieve some things, and we're just gonna have to wait and see, because obviously before with the Yoshizo Shufflers taking away your Beast Warrior Wing Beast in the graveyard, that was horrible and you couldn't really get your effects off. But right now I think this might change, so we'll see. BA is just not good. It's way too bad. That was such a not a well thought out explanation of BA, but you know what I mean. It's like one of those decks, they just fall off simply because power creep and the speed of the game and all of that happen to them. And no matter what you do with everything at 3, I don't think BA is able to perform because it's just not at the power level of other decks. And then we have branded Bestial, Espia, the branded deck basically. It literally adopts the Bestial engine as part of the deck. It synergizes incredibly well with it. It does have an issue, even though it's very strong, it's consistent. It's not exactly bad going second either. It's able to do some things. Guardian Chimera is a threat going first and second, actually, with the set branded red. But the entire point I'm trying to make is no matter how good it is, it has a downside, which also was seen before, because when players try to side against Despia, it's quite easy to do, and it's quite easy to sort of push that deck further down the tiers because everyone is preparing for it. And I do think it's going to be similar with Kashtira as well. It seems like one of those decks when players start to play the outs to it. In the case of Despia Ash and all of that, it's much harder to compete. So right from the get-go, I think it's going to be a bit better. However, the power of the deck is still there, but it is struggling with some things. I still think it's tier 1 though. So there's that. And then there's the Bestial Dragon Link deck, which to me feels like bottom of tier 2. I think it has potential, but it just feels like this skeleton of the old Dragon Link deck. It's not able to do enough, I think. And Bestials aren't that great in every single matchup either. So there's some things that it's struggling with. But again, we're going to have to wait and see how how those things play out. And then Crystal Beast, like, I think it's rogue. I don't think it's exactly a horrible deck. It's able to spam out bodies and have cards like Necrovalley and all of that. However, how much play is that actually going to be seeing, and how much difference is it actually going to be making with tier almost out of the format? If tier still is able to compete, which maybe it might, just not at the old power level, then Crystal Beast might see more play, but I just don't think it's as great by themselves. They were just able to perform quite nicely against tier in particular. And then we have Dark World, which in my opinion, like, I remember the last tier list we made with DB Grinder, we sort of trolled it and put it in bruh. I don't think Dark World is that great. It's struggling with consistency, it's struggling with being disrupted, and like the hand loop and all of that. Like, I think it's also way too reliant on drawing well with dangers if you're playing more pure. I'm not exactly sure how that version is, but with dangers, there's the RNG of dangers, and I'm not a fan of the Dark World deck. However, I think it's still rogue. Like, I'm not trying to bash it. I just think it's like rogue, if I'm being realistic. Although I don't think it's great in the grand scheme of things, and I don't really like it. You know, then we have... Yeah, I at this point, I don't even know why I keep DDD on this list. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, it's really not great. It's fragile and it's able to make some boards, but it just gets disrupted and dealt with, and it doesn't make it in the deck that's worth playing, at least in my opinion. So I don't know. I don't think it's great. Then we have Dinosaur, which I think it should be put at the top of Rogue. Complete top of Rogue, maybe even tier 2. It's not bad in the upcoming format. I think it's able to compete, it's able to go second, and it's receiving support, but we're not discussing the support dinos just yet, because with the support it's going to be much better. It got Lithosagem back, which is able to pop the babies, so a version like that might see play. Lost World giving the Kashtira player a token is something I particularly like. I don't know. I think it's still struggling with consistency, and it's always going to. So I don't think it should go higher than Rogue, but it has a ton of potential. Then we have Dinomorphia, which we can put it like at the bottom of Rogue. It's just a trap deck, and there's not many things to say about it. It just feels kind of bad. It's able to do some things, and going first, of course, it's better, but you're not always going to go first, and those decks really struggle with going second. So I don't know, bottom of here, probably. And then we have Draco Slayer, which sadly, I think I'm going to have to put in Rogue. I think I'll still leave them quite high up. I have a particular opinion on Draco Slayer, which people might disagree with, but basically I just... I don't think the zone locking of the Kashtira player matters that much if you're probably losing that game when they're going first anyway. Because if you're paired up against them and they know you're a Draco Slayer, like, of course that sucks, but it's not always going to happen. More than likely, they won't know, so they won't lock your Pendulum Zones. Like, realistically, that's not happening. So you can win game 1, even if you're going second. Game 2, if they're going first, it's whatever, you probably lose, which you probably lose anyway. And if you draw into going second cards, it's going to be much, much better. I'm talking about non-engine, that is. So you might be able to deal with them and actually do something. Because if you get rid of the Shangri-Ira or flip it face down, the zone locking isn't there anymore, so you're not hurt by it. And yeah, going first, it's of course very, very strong. So I think Draco Slayer still is somewhat viable, but I doubt a lot of people are going to have the courage of actually taking it to an event. So there's my 2 cents on it. I'll leave it here. I think I'll put it above Dark World because I don't think it's good. So then we have Dragon Maid. Like, that's Rogue, I guess. Probably somewhere over here. Maybe here. It's not bad with Bestials. I just don't think it's particularly strong. I used the word particularly a lot in this tier list. I'll try to be mindful of not using it. It just describes everything so well. So yeah, I don't think it's that strong. At that point, you might probably be playing the Dragon Bestial version, which is probably going to be utilizing the Dragon Maid package moving forward. So you don't need to play the pure Dragon Maids, but I don't know, maybe it's just me hating on them. I don't know. I just don't think they're that great. And then we have Jaichan, and there's going to be a lot of talk about Jaichan, I think. Whether it's tier 2 or Rogue or somewhere around that spot. I think it's Rogue. I think Joytron is not going to be that great. It is still losing to Graveyard Disruption in some kind of way. So if they go Kashtira Birth and they get rid of your cards, that's horrible. If Ghostbell sees play, it's going to be much easier to counter Joytron. It's not that great going second. I don't know. I just don't really see it. I might be wrong. You might disagree with me. But until I see some kind of Joytron result, I don't think Joytron is that great. Then we have Earth Machine. It's probably going in Rogue. Like, might be somewhere over here. It's just Earth Machine. Does what it does. Goes second. Even if it goes first, it's going to be able to play Gozen, which is very strong against Kashtira. So there's that as well. Not a bad deck. Just a solid Rogue contender. Then we have Sprite. So I guess we can, since we came to the Live Twin Sprite variant, we can discuss everything Sprite right now if you guys want. So we can talk about Sprite. I'm going to throw all of the versions up here first, and then we're going to arrange them. So there's that, and I don't think I'm missing any versions. So, all right, I think Sprite is going to be probably tier 2 for now, because we don't really know how to do anything with Sprite. Like the Gishki version will probably be lower because it was very elf reliant. So until we get some stuff figured out, I think tier 2 is the way to go for the Sprite versions, because these over here, I think all of them are strong. I like the tri-brigade version. I just think it's I don't know. I can't really decide yet because I haven't tested the different versions enough. I think it's going to really matter how you decide to go about your combos, but it's still a very, very strong deck with a very strong engine, and you're able to pair a lot of other powerful engines together with it. And on top of that, after all of that, after you're done pairing the engines together, you still have enough space for non-engines. So I like Sprite. I think it has a ton of potential, and it can also be adapted to the new matchups. So I think it might go higher than tier 2 very, very, very soon. But it's a bit weird at this point in time because no one has really had the time to test it out yet. So there's that. Eldritch is like probably somewhere over here in Rogue, probably even lower than Guru. It just seems like one of the worst trap decks at this point in time. It had its moment and it's past its prime now. So then we have Exosister. I don't think Exosister is good. I think I might put it in like somewhere in Rogue, I guess. Maybe over here or even lower. Actually, yeah, I think I'll put it quite low. As I was saying, for the entire time Exosister was popular, I don't think the deck is strong by itself. It just had a really, really good tier limit matchup. It's struggling with a lot of things, and right now the D-Shifter and Necro Valley and all of that is not going to be enough. No one is probably going to be playing Exosister. Like, Flunder was probably better than... Actually, I think Flunder was better than Exosister, and right now Kashtira is better than Flunder, so who's gonna play Exosister? It makes zero sense to me right now, and that might be a poor explanation, but it's just the way I feel about it. I don't think it's strong, as opposed to Flunder. I think Flunder has potential. I'll put it in like, maybe like top of Rogue. Yeah, top of Rogue. I don't think it's exactly tier 2 because Barrier Statue did a lot, and right now I think the only thing Thunder is going to be able to do, it feels a bit more fair, right? It's going to be able to put up the trap, they're going to set your monsters, okay, that's one interruption, and then there's the Empen, which is annoying, and when they get going, like with Ryza and all of that, Apex Avian, it's just a deck that... okay, those are the things it does. That's how I'm going to try to combat it. If not, I'll just go game 2. I'll probably win the match. That's sort of how I view Flunder. Because Barrier Statue was the actual big issue, and with it gone, it's going to be much easier to counter Flunder. And also, we're not exactly in a meta where D-Shifter is playing a huge part, because tier is not... We don't know what's going to happen with it, and the other decks don't get hurt by it that much, so the thing that pushed Flunder over the edge was the Shifter together with Barrier Statue. Barrier Statue is banned, Shifter is not as great anymore. So there you have it. Generator is probably Rogue. I've heard people say it's Rogue. I still haven't looked into it that much, so I guess I'll just put it somewhere in here, maybe. Hopefully you like the placement. It just seems Rogue because even with the support, it doesn't seem like it's going to exactly be able to compete with the best decks. And the Hero it had a good tier matchup, and Dark Claw was extremely, extremely strong. But for now, I guess I'll just put it like maybe over here. A lot of people are probably going to be playing Nibiru, which again, Hero has been known for struggling with Nibiru. With Nibiru being nice against Kashtira, it's going to hurt Hero, and also it's going to hurt Salamangreat. And I get it's not only Nibiru, those decks have flaws by themselves, and I just think that, you know, Salamangreat might maybe be like, I don't know, maybe I think I'll put it in not good. Let's put it in Rogue. Let's put it in Rogue, and I'll discuss both Hero and Salamangreat together. I just don't really know where to place it because nothing seems very strong. I'll put it here. So, yeah, Hero is struggling with Nibiru and is struggling with other things. It just doesn't seem like as great of a deck. And Salamangreat, what it has going for it, you know, there's the Ghost match, which is going to be strong, and it's just way too bad. That's pretty much everything it's ending up on. You're praying to draw into like a hand trap or something on top of having the pop. There's literally the pop and the negate and maybe like a Baguska at times. I just don't think either of these decks are at the power level as the other decks. So at Ignister as well, I think it's like probably next to Salamangreat. Maybe here. Yeah, like let's put it here. So it's one of those decks where like okay, I'll leave it. You know, they're playing this 1-card combo and a bunch of hand traps, and hand traps might even feel kind of bad moving forward in a way. Ash is nice, Nibiru is nice, but other than that, power spells are going to be a bit more prevalent and strong. So with a deck like this, I don't think it's like what are you ending up on? Is this adding this link, sure, and then the hand traps, which might not even be able to exactly hurt the top decks, so it just doesn't seem as strong. And Dogmatica and Alistair and all of that, that's like the Ideas deck is what this icon is representing. And I'll put it at the top of not good. Like every single time I put it at the top of not good, it seems like it's visibly fallen off. It doesn't seem like that. It has visibly fallen off. The Makaba is not going to be enough. Even if you open every single engine with the Makaba and the Dogmatica stuff and all that Shadol stuff, whatever you're playing in it, there is some support in the recent sets, but like I just don't think it's great even with it, so I'll just leave it at the top of not good. Then we have Kashtira, and I think Kashtira is going to be tier 1 100%. It's very, very, very strong. However, it's also quite easily countered, like I explained with the branded Despia deck. I don't think it's insane like Tyr was, or even Sprite to an extent. Not right now, but before. I think Kashtira is still going to be played a lot, and it is going to be strong. The zone locking is annoying, and it's just a pain to deal with and go up against it. But it is still going to be tier 1. Then we have Labyrinth, which in my opinion might actually be tier 1 as well. Again, with the zone locking, like I mentioned with Pendulums, they will know to lock your spell and trap card zones. Also, if they lock like 2 of them, maybe at some point in time, you're still able to play with the 3 cards that are left for you. So there is that. Then also being able to use the extra deck in a different way, which we actually saw on stream in Lyon, and it's just this idea where you play a different extra deck, not for the Labyrinth deck, because if they look at it and they go, oh, you're playing Dragon Link or whatever it is, they just prepare for it, banish the Striker Dragon and move on, and then here you are with the Labyrinth deck. So I think that's insanely smart. And also with the entire deck, with the support, Big Welcome Labyrinth, it did a lot. It's able to grant more consistency and power to the deck by itself. Normal trap cards are actually receiving some love. You know, they are getting more massively printed, like interesting new trap cards are coming out, and the older ones are still going to be seeing play and play an important part, like Compose and all of that. And it's cool to see. It doesn't seem like this stupid Floodgate deck. However, it is able to play Floodgate. So at some point in time, if we transition to that kind of format, it might just include Floodgates and get on all of our nerves. But I still think until that time comes, it's just a cool trap deck. And I don't know. I want to know what you guys think, but I think it's very strong and it has a lot of potential. Then we have Madolce. I'll just put them in Rogue. I don't think Madolce is bad. But the Ishizu cards did a lot. And they were able to tie the engines together through Gravekeeper's Trap and all of that. And right now, with less of them, it just feels really bad for Madolches. So I'll just put them like maybe here. I don't think it's exactly that great. And I have a feeling like too many decks are in Rogue. I don't think all of these are that strong, but I don't know. I guess we can leave them in here. Then we have Marincess, which is probably like... Actually, no. It's like... It reminds me of Adagnister a lot. Both Cyber's decks with bunker combos and a lot of hand traps. So the arguments go for both of them. It is probably Rogue still, but... And Methmech, like... Methmech, we can put... I don't know, next to them, I guess. We could move this a bit higher. I think it has some potential. We can move this maybe a bit lower. And Methmech above this one. So Methmech is struggling against Bystios, like we all know, but with Bystios falling off, people say, oh, maybe Methmech will see a resurgence. But Bystios are still going to be present because people are going to try to be preparing for Tier if Tier makes a comeback. So if your deck is inherently struggling with Bystios, like, and it could go the same for Drytron as well, like, it's still going to be a struggle. So I don't know. I think Methmech is fine over here. And we might... No, I'll leave it. Yeah, I think that's fine. I like the tri-brigade deck a bit more, so... Okay. Then we have the Mikanko deck. So this could be the Mikanko Libromancer or just the Mikanko engine in other decks. I saw the engine of the... I don't know what its name is, but the Ritual with the spell card and the equipped spell card being this little engine. I liked it a lot. Like in Tier Limit, I saw it, and there's other decks probably that can utilize it, and it's able to go into Beatrice. I like it. I'm not exactly sure how much play it's actually going to be seeing as a deck, as an entire deck with Libromancer. Like, it's the combo deck that we saw top a couple days ago, like last week or something. So it seems interesting, but it's just this combo deck that, I don't know, I'll leave it like maybe here. And we'll see what happens with it. Ninja, again, a combo deck. I had a good comment on the last Best Deck Tier List video where someone said it could be played a bit differently as well, not just as this insane combo deck, but also as a more control mid-range type. So yeah, Ninja is interesting, but it does get hurt by hand traps and all of that. So I'm not sure how much viability it's going to have, but we could put it like, I don't know, down here we have this like the slums of Rogue. I'm not even sure where to place things anymore. We can place it like here, maybe. Yeah. No, I'll put it lower. Okay, we can place it here. I think that's fine. Plunder Patrol, I think it has a lot of potential moving forward. I'll put it quite high. Actually, no, I'll put it higher than all of these. It's going to be strong. The Adventure Engine does a lot. And before, with the Ishizu cards, being able to send the top cards of your decks to the graveyard and take away your one-offs. The Adventure Engine was, of course, horrible to play, but it's still completely unlimited and very, very strong if you're able to pair it with the correct decks. So a deck like Plunder, I think, has a ton of potential with adventure stuff. There's Spunk variants as well, and I think it's very, very strong moving forward, and people are completely unprepared for it. So yeah, don't underestimate it. And then Phantom Knights, I don't know. They're not good. I don't think they're good. I'm sorry. They don't do anything. They don't end on anything, and they lose to Bystios still. And I just don't... I don't know. They're not great. I might even put all of these lower if I decide. I'm not sure. I'll put Eldritch not good. Solomon Great could also go in not good, but let's just leave it alone. I'm not, yeah. Purely is probably Rogue, but I'll put it somewhere quite low because it doesn't really do anything right now, but with the support, it's going to be strong. So let's put it at the middle of Rogue, maybe. Yeah, like somewhere over here. It doesn't really matter because the support is the important thing. So, yeah. Here, sure. Then we have the Rika deck, which is going to be quite strong. Might even be tier 2, actually. Because before, like, people sort of stopped playing it, but it is able to put a ton of disruptions on the board and doesn't really get hurt by stuff like Bestios. And it's interesting, also quite unknown in a way to people. So if you prepare well with the Rika deck that has a ton of potential by itself and you pilot it really well, I think you're able to do well. So there's that. I'll put this at the top of Rogue probably. Then we have the Naturia deck. This is Naturia Runic Ishizo. It's the icon I had before and I just left it because I think the Naturia deck with runic cards is going to be strong, simply because before the runic cards were struggling against the Ishizo cards. Like this entire tier list was literally hurt by Ishizo cards. So right now we are seeing a ton of new things and shifts in the tier list, and I like this a lot, especially with an engine like Runic, because them shuffling off your cards so you can't get the fountain draw is just so annoying and so unfortunate. And the Naturia deck was nice, but the Runic engine struggled. So right now with no Ishizo cards anymore and you're able to pair the Runic engine again, you're getting so much consistency, so many draws, and I think the deck has potential. And then we also have the Runic Sprite as well, but it's perfect because we're discussing Runic. So we can put the Runic Sprite deck in. I think this deck is going to have potential as well because of the same reasons I just listed. And the pure Runic deck, I also think it's going to see play. That fact is horrible. I don't like that. I don't want the stun deck anywhere near me, but it is going to happen because Jesse made a good point in our video, about Kashtira Birth that I also mentioned before, because Kashtira Birth is also going to be able to get rid of your cards in the graveyard, like I said in the case of Jaichan. So that's still something to think about when it comes to the Runic engine. But I think all in all, it is going to be strong and it is going to see play. And then the Scareclaw deck is probably top of Rogue. It is quite scary. I think it's able to do a lot. And I didn't mention it, I think, in my last year list or the one before that. I wasn't really paying that much attention to Scareclaw. And that was a mistake on my part. I think it has a ton of potential. Probably not better than Rogue, but it is a deck to look out for. And also Striker, I think it's going to be able to compete. I'll put it maybe here. They don't really care about zones being locked, which is cool because they're doing a lot of things. Like you can't only lock the spell and trap card zones, and with the main decks, it just doesn't do anything to lock their zones, and I like that a lot. So it has potential, I think, and it's not only the zone locking, but with Bestios almost gone. Ray is not that fragile in the graveyard anymore. That vulnerable is a better word. I think Striker is nice, but again with the Runic engine, I think Runic engine does a lot for the deck. So yeah, and then we have Spring Guns, which I looked at some combos when it comes to Spring Guns, and they seem very strong. They don't seem better than Rogue, but they seem like they have a ton of potential, and that's very similar to Scareclaw. I think I'll put them here. They make cool boards. And, with the new support and all of that, I think the deck is strong and it's able to catch you off guard completely. So keep an eye out for that deck. And we can actually maybe move Flunder a bit lower, but I guess let's just leave him over here. Then we have Sword Soul, which in my opinion is tier 2. Probably should go over here. It's able to adapt to the meta very easily because it has enough space for the non-engine, and that's very, very strong. You can just adapt it and for sure know you're going to be able to do well because you're countering the meta, because the deck itself, if you just look at the engine, it's also very strong. It's able to put up a board that's strong enough for you to survive an OTK quite easily. It's a very rewarding deck if you pilot it well. Teaches you a lot if you're trying to get into the game. It is one of the decks that I would personally recommend if someone is just starting out. So I think Sword Soul has a ton of potential. Okay, then we have this deck, which is just the tier Ishizu Kashtira, and I'll just put it in not good. It seems as though these kinds of versions are not going to be good enough. I might be wrong, but let's talk about the tier deck as well. It's weird. It's weird, right? Because if it sees play with other engines, sure. But just as a pure deck, it doesn't seem like it's going to do enough. Man, it's so weird. I'll put tier in rogue, maybe? Like, it might still be tier 2, but I just don't know how to even approach this. Like, I guess we can put it here. And that's sort of representing how like this old version is not going to be a thing anymore, because there are so many cards that you need to replace right now that it just almost makes zero sense. So a very well thought out version with some other engines might probably be tier 2. So there's that. Chapchicks is probably not that great. I know with the structure deck it's becoming better, but like I need to so with the structure deck, it's becoming better. It's not bra, but it is so rogue. Like, it's just a worse job deck than Labyrinth, and it could probably go like somewhere over here with the new cards. Seems interesting, but not as great as Labyrinth. And at that point, if you're trying to play a trap deck, just play Labyrinth, I guess. So there's that. And the Virtual World deck is rogue as well. Like, we can place it maybe here. The Blackwing deck could go a bit higher. Then there's the Mikanko deck. Virtual World could go a bit lower. And the Chapchicks deck as well. So I think that's sort of the correct tier list as far as my opinions go. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, though, because I think there's many things to discuss and talk about, and it's just the tier deck. I'm so unsatisfied with its position. I'm not sure what to think of it and where to put it. Like, I guess I'll just place it next to that one, and you know, you can decide for yourself if you test tier. And that's pretty much going to be it. If you like this video, please like it, sub, of course, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.